some days y'all have been together, I think he's proven himself.
To be exclusive and be my girlfriend, and
You lost Timmy when we're about to recouple again,
Yeah.
and then you selected Jeff. I shut the telly off.
It was nice to see the islanders meeting each other's families and seeing how they seeing the family's perception of the partner. I really enjoyed Deb's family meeting Jesse, and also his mom and grandma meeting Deb. I loved Zita's mom. Zita's mom is Tim Zimmy, so that was lovely to see. And oh, I loved Isaiah's little sister. Oh, she was so sweet. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your notification bell for when I upload new videos. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island USA Season 4, Episode 35. It's your girl Valerie again. Um, this review, what I'll do is I'll review the couples meeting each other's families, and then I'll talk about the fight. I have my opinion, which might be unpopular in regards to the fight, but I think it wasn't just Jeff who was responsible for that fight. I think Nadia was to blame as well for the fight. I know some people might say Timmy, but I'll explain my reasons anyway. So with the Islanders, obviously Deb and Jesse are still reflecting on the previous night and sort of speaking to Timmy and Zita and sort of trying to sort of help. I think they're seeking their advice on their relationship and sort of some sort of guidance and sort of s- just a listening ear that's sort of impartial. That's what I got. So then Deb's mom calls to Deb. Deb goes and speaks to her parents. I love her parents. They seemed a bit older than I expected them to be, but anyway, I loved her family, and I loved how excited they were to meet Jesse, and also I loved the advice that Deb's dad and her brother gave them, because Jesse was honest and said, "This is what happened last night. I asked Debbie to be my girlfriend, and this is what she said." And I like the fact that they reassured Jeff, Jesse. I like the fact that they were reassuring, and I like the fact that Deb's brother actually said, at times we put titles on things that might not necessarily need the title. And I think this is what Jesse was struggling with, the fact that he told her he wanted Deb to be his girlfriend, but then Deb said she's not ready, which makes sense. Different couples move at different rates, which I'm going to discuss later when I talk about the fight. And so for her to say no, because otherwise it would have just been following the trend. Because I saw this on Love Island UK. Everybody, once Tasha asked Andrew to be her boyfriend, everybody started, we're exclusive, we're in love, we're this. With. So I like the fact that they decided to be different and decided not to focus on giving each other titles and leaving the villa and then seeing whether they really do want to give each other titles. Uh, Jess's mom and grandma were excited to meet Deb. They saw the changes that, Deb has brought, the changes that have come out of Jesse as a result of him being with Deb. And it's sad that they were excited when they were so excited and elated when Jesse told them that, I asked her to be my girlfriend. And it was sad to see that. I think their hearts broke for Jesse, because I think they knew that this means a lot to him, for him to ask Jesse to be his girlfriend. And I think speaking to his family and speaking to Deb's family, I think was enough to reassure Jesse that, okay, this is not the end. They did have a conversation with Deb, and Deb was saying, this is not the end for us. I still want us to continue to fight for this relationship, because seeing how all the other guys have behaved on Love Island, I'm surprised. I've come to appreciate Jesse a lot, and how he's remained himself and he's remained calm. And I always say this on any review that I do on shows, that people need to have the ability to listen, and not only to listen, but to take the advice they're given and use what is important and what works for them. And I like the fact that Jesse is one of those people who's willing to ask for help when he's struggling, and is willing to receive the help, and not only just receive it, but is willing to put it into practice. And that's how they've come thus far with Deb. So I really wish them the best, and I really hope they work. um from there, it was Zita and Timmy. Zita was the first one to be called by her mom. Her mom was Tim Zimmy, and her mom, wasn't happy with. I didn't realize. it was nice to hear her say, you told me not to step forward for a guy because you didn't want me to be rejected by anyone, but I stepped forward with Tammy because I felt God's hands pushing me forward. And her mom was, was okay with that. And she said, I felt that Timmy was the guy for you. And she made me laugh when she said, I turned off the telly when you chose Jeff. And I was like, okay, mom, here we go. This will make Timmy happy. I think Timmy, I think Timmy and Jesse, I think, have been, given how long they've been in the villa, they are some of the guys that have remained themselves and remained sort of loving, patient, kind to their partners, regardless of what was going on. So Timmy, his sister came up. Unfortunately, his mother and dad couldn't be there, and so his sister was excited to see Zita. Apparently, she's a fan of Zita, and Zita was excited to see his sister. She said his sister is very beautiful, and that was pleasant to see. And I think them sort of looking, I think this served as reassurance for some of the islanders that you're doing the right thing, your relationship is okay, your family approves, and now take it out into the world and see if it works. And so that was lovely to see when Timmy and Zita was speaking, and Timmy he was very respectful actually too, because he knew Zita's brothers' names, and he wanted to put his best foot forward, which was amazing, and I really loved that. And then from there, we had Phoebe and Chad. Phoebe and Chad, I'm sorry, but I didn't really listen. I'm sorry I didn't listen because for me, Phoebe and Chad, I don't think uh, they might be a genuine couple, but I am still on the fence given how they came to be. I know Phoebe's family were happy that she's there, and Phoebe was excited that they got to meet Chad, and the fact that, she's been wanting this for a long time. Chad's family were happy to see Phoebe. I didn't listen to much of the conversation, I'm sorry, so I have nothing much to say. Do I think they were a stronger couple than any other couple in the villa? No, I think they started off as a couple of convenience, and maybe they might have grown feelings for one another. I don't know. I'll explain more in the fight. And then from there it was Jeff and Naja. Um, I think Jeff and Naja. I think this was the beginning of the end for them, because Jeff's dad said he was worried that Naja was not into Jeff as much as he was into her, and I think that sort of sat with Naja, and that was one of the reasons why they ended up leaving the villa, because I think she couldn't get over the fact, because everybody else, when talking about their partner's family, the families had been very reassuring and very accepting, and the fact that Jeff's dad brought up this issue, which a lot of people have questioned whether she is as genuine about Jeff as he is about her. And it was said that they started off coming out of the hideaway to the way they ended at the end. I think that was something that was to be expected. I think it was something to be expected. Maybe she was looking for an excuse to break up with him, or maybe it became too much for her and she was overwhelmed. I don't know. I really don't know the reason behind why they ended up sort of breaking up at the end. And then Sydney and Isaiah. I love Sydney's mom. I love Sydney's mom because I think Sydney's sister was going to go in on Isaiah, but I love the fact that Sydney's mom actually stepped up and explained the tweet to Sydney to make sure that she understood everything. And she told her, I read the tweet and this is what it said, and he never compared you to the other person. And I think it was good that her mother is the one who gave her that information and allowed her to realize that, yeah, maybe she might have been more upset than she should have. But at the same time, she's not to blame, because had Isaiah come out and spoken to her about it instead of behaving the way he did, maybe things might have been perceived differently. Isaiah's sister was so excited to show Sydney her red hair. I didn't know he had a sister that was that young. And I like the fact that both sets of parents seem to appreciate that even though their children are very young, I think they appreciated the fact that they do make an amazing couple. And I think just like everybody else, they're waiting to see them and are hoping that these relationships work outside the villa. And then, so the couples got ready for the evening. So the islanders, after they've had the drinks, are told to come to the fire pit where it's revealed that, one couple is going to be dumped. But instead of public voting, it will be the islanders who will decide who will go home. And so I felt some type of way because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. But then, because If it had gone out to the public, I know for a fact the public would have voted out Chad and Phoebe. There was no debate about that. People cannot stand Phoebe. That's because of the way Phoebe came in. Phoebe came into Casamo, went all out until she won Isaiah. Once she won Isaiah, then she won Isaiah and he brought her to the villa. She then realized that Isaiah actually was going to stick to Sydney. So she had to find a way to stay in the villa and she decided to go after Chad. Chaz, even knowing that Chaz was with her best friend Bella at the time. When Chaz and Bella were voted out, she then looked for an alternative and decided to go after Joel and Chad. And when she realized that Chad was sort of torn in between herself and Courtney, and she wasn't guaranteed a chance of staying in the villa, I feel this is just my opinion from what I watched. I feel she then decided to go all in on Joel and got Joel to keep her in the villa. And once Joel kept her in the villa, she then started to pursue and she realized that Courtney had gone, which was her main competition. She then pursued Chad until she got Chad. And so for me to say, oh, they're a strong couple, no. I would have been better off saying Bella and Joel were a strong couple than Phoebe and Chad because Phoebe and Chad were a couple of convenience. And I think Isaiah was right in his speech when he stated that they were nominating them, that he said if things had moved differently, he feels that Chad and Phoebe would never have been a couple. So if he had left Sydney and had decided to stick to Phoebe, Phoebe would have stayed in a couple with Isaiah and she would not have battered an eyelid at Chad. Or if, for example, Chaz had stayed in the villa, Phoebe would have stayed with Chaz and would never have gone to Chad. So that is honest in itself. So how I feel is Nadia knows Jeff to some point, to some extent. She spent 24 hours of the day with him since they went into the villa, or since she came into the villa. She got Jeff wound up. So she primed him and had him ready by saying, "Oh, I feel like the OG couples are going to target Phoebe and Chad, and she's my friend and blah blah blah." Yes, she's your friend, but where was that concern from Jeff and everybody else when other people were being sent? Serenity was sent home by chance. Her friends didn't say anything. We didn't hear Zita and company say anything. Courtney was sent home. We didn't hear Zita and company say anything to the people that sent them home. They just took it as, okay, that's what's happened. We just have to keep moving on. And so for her to tell Jeff that, oh, I feel like the OG couples are going to target my friend. And Jeff to say, okay, I'll take it upon myself. I believe that Jeff, everything he did at the fire pit was it was him trying to sort of stick up and be the man and sort of trying to show his girlfriend that show Nadia that he would always go all out to protect her and do whatever made her happy. And because he knew Phoebe staying in the villa would make her happy, this is what he wanted. And so I didn't appreciate his comment about people being buddy buddy because his relationship to Jesse and Deb is not the same as Timmy's relationship to Jesse and Deb because they've been with Jesse and Deb since the start. They know everything that this couple has gone through because Jeff Jesse always confides in Timmy. So the fact that he stood up instead of just standing up and saying, after the fall out after the fact that Deb brought someone from Casa More and the fact that she's not sure whether she wants to continue with this is why we're choosing them. He then went, oh, there's buddy, buddy, buddy. And when all that happened, people tried to ignore it and just kept quiet. You could see everybody became uncomfortable. And I have to commend Jesse again because Jesse did not react to that. He just kept quiet and just took it as it is and just waited for the outcome. And when Isaiah and Sydney stood up and gave their piece, which is, we're voting for Phoebe and Chad just because we feel they would not have been a couple had Phoebe been able to recouple with all the other people that she's gone through. Then Jeff started kicking off, and it's like, why are you kicking off? Why are you kicking off? People are giving their opinions. You have given your opinion that you feel that Jesse could do better. Jesse didn't say anything. This has nothing to do with you. Just because you're friends with someone doesn't mean that they need to stay. It's not a friendship. It's not a friendship island. It's Love Island. And so I didn't get that. And the fact that Nadia, knowing that she had expressed these concerns to Jeff and was seeing that Jeff was spiraling, the least she could have done was just tried to sort of pacify him. I'm not saying she should have dragged him or whatever, but she should have tried to pacify him and not stand back because Timmy was sort of speaking to Zita and was saying, I'm not happy with all these comments about buddy buddy. And Zita was sort of expressing herself. But when Jeff kept going on, that's when Zita stepped up. And so for me, I feel like this. Naja wound Jeff up, and then when things fell apart, she stood back and watched him spiral and didn't say anything. And the fact that if she was concerned about stopping him, Phoebe and Chad are friends with Jeff and Naja. Why didn't Chad step in to sort of try and sort of calm the situation with Jeff or try to drag Jeff away? Because when things spiraled and Jeff stood up and sort of had the fight mode and was sort of he tried to walk away, and Timmy was like, "No, you can't just now you're walking away. You said something. We want to respond to your comment, and you're walking off." That's when he tried to sort of intimidate Timmy by sort of stepping up to Timmy, and Timmy was not in. This is where emotional maturity comes in because Timmy stood his ground and was saying facts as they were, whereas Jeff was trying to sort of intimidate him with his body stuff. Had it been anybody else, hands would have flown there. I truly believe an all-out fight would have broken out. And I like the fact that everybody else was calm around them. Yeah, they were uncomfortable, but they were calm around them. Jesse is the one who should have been even more upset because of the comments that Jeff made. The fact that he said, "Oh, I feel that another couple is not progressing." Nobody progresses in a relationship at the same pace. You can start 10 relationships at the same time, and not all 10 of them will progress at the same rate. Some will be faster, some will be slower, some will just remain stable. That is fine. You cannot dictate how fast a couple should move. We don't know if Nadia was really in love with him or was really using him to get to the finale. And so for him to turn around and judge everybody else and say, "You are not moving at the same pace." Deb and Jeff C have moved at their own pace, which is totally different to what Isaiah and Sydney have done, which is totally different from what Timmy and Zita have done. Timmy and Zita only had the Bria fallout, and since then they've been fine. Isaiah and Sydney have had countless of fallouts, countless. There are too many to. There've been tears. So you can't compare that to Timmy and Zita. You can't compare that to Deb and Jesse. I truly believe, and I'm upset at the fact that when they left, um, Jeff could not bring himself to apologize. I know Timmy said to him, "This is not how I wanted this to end," because Timmy, on his own, you could tell Timmy was pissed off, and I think something must have happened afterwards. This is why the guys decided to separate them when they slept, and Jeff had to sleep in one end of the room, and Timmy slept on the other end of the room. But I truly believe that if nothing else, Jeff and Nigel need to apologize not only to Timmy and Deb and Jesse, but they need to apologize to the whole group. And the fact that their friends were there and were excited about leaving, but didn't have the guts because Jeff was fighting for them, and yet they couldn't say anything to that. That I didn't like. That I didn't like. I'm sorry, but I still believe that Jeff is mainly responsible. If it was to be a portion play, Jeff is 60% responsible for what happened. Timmy is 20% responsible for his actions, and Niger is 20. Well, Timmy is not that responsible because he was only responding to something that was said. But Nadia is responsible because she set Jeff up to take the fall for whatever happened, and then turned around and made herself a victim. That, oh, he doesn't want me to speak to the other guys. He doesn't. So I'm leaving the villa. I think because of what Jeff's dad said, this is why she decided to leave the villa because she felt some type of way that his family did not approve of her. So I don't know. I didn't get that bit. I didn't get why they suddenly decided to leave. I don't think it was that much of a big deal for them to leave. I think had they sat down and talked about it, if they really cared about each other, they would have stayed until the finale. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.